You wake up feeling heavy. Not sad, exactly. Not anxious. Just something. You search your mind for a reason. Did something happen yesterday? Is there something today you're dreading? But you can't find it. The feeling is just there. Present. Persistent. And you start to wonder, why do I feel this way? Most of us assume emotions work linearly. Something happens, we think about it, then we feel something in response. But the body doesn't always wait for the mind to catch up. Sometimes, you feel first. And only afterward does your mind scramble to make sense of it. There's a quiet intelligence to this. A logic beneath the surface. And understanding it changes how you relate to what you feel. Your nervous system is always listening. Not to your thoughts. To your environment. To cues so subtle your conscious mind doesn't register them. A shift in someone's tone. A flicker of tension in a room. A slight change in routine. Your body notices. And it responds. Heart rate shifts. Breathing becomes shallower. Muscles tighten slightly. These aren't random. They're preparation. Your system getting ready for whatever it senses might be coming. And here's what's interesting. This happens before you've consciously noticed anything is different. The feeling arrives first. The racing heart. The tightness in your chest. The restlessness. Only then does your mind start asking, why do I feel this way? And your mind, being what it is, will find a reason. It will search through recent events, upcoming plans, past patterns. It will construct a story that explains the feeling. But sometimes, the story isn't the cause. It's the justification. Your body responded to something real. A genuine shift in safety or threat, connection or distance. But by the time your conscious mind gets involved, you're explaining a feeling that's already happened. You're interpreting physiological signals. Translating body language into thoughts. And that translation isn't always accurate. The human nervous system evolved for episodic danger. A threat appears. Your body activates. You respond. The threat passes. Your body settles. But modern life doesn't work in episodes. The threats are constant. And they're abstract. Financial uncertainty. Social comparison. Productivity pressure. Information overload. Your nervous system can't distinguish between a physical threat and a psychological one. It responds the same way to a predator and to an overdue email. Activation. Alert. Vigilance. Except the email doesn't resolve. The uncertainty doesn't pass. The comparison never ends. So your body stays activated. Not at peak levels. But chronically. A low-grade hum of alertness that becomes so familiar you stop noticing it. Until you do notice it. And it feels like anxiety for no reason. Or irritability that doesn't match the situation. Or exhaustion that sleep doesn't fix. But there is a reason. Your nervous system has been working. Constantly. Responding to an environment that never signals, safe, you can rest now. And when the body never fully settles, emotions intensify. Small frustrations feel enormous. Minor disappointments feel crushing. Ordinary stress feels unbearable. Not because you're overreacting. But because your system is already operating near its threshold. There's no buffer. No space between stimulus and response. Everything lands harder because your nervous system is already braced. Here's where it gets more complex. The same physical sensation, a racing heart, for instantia, can become completely different emotions depending on context. Racing heart before a presentation, anxiety. Racing heart before seeing someone you care about, excitement. Racing heart after 3 cups of coffee, just coffee. Same sensation. Different interpretation. Different emotion. This is where your mind comes in. Not just noticing the feeling, but assigning meaning to it. And meaning changes everything. 2 people can walk into the same room. Both notice their breath getting shallow, their shoulders tensing. One interprets it as threat. Something's wrong here. I'm not safe. The other interprets it as anticipation. Something interesting is about to happen. Same physiological response. Completely different emotional experience. This is why mindset matters. Why the stories you tell yourself about what you're feeling actually shape what you feel. But here's what's tricky: you can't just think your way out of a nervous system response. You can reframe the interpretation. You can change the story. But if your body is still activated, if your nervous system is still signaling danger, the feeling persists. You might understand it differently. You might relate to it with more awareness. But you still feel it. Because the body has its own knowing. And that knowing doesn't always yield to logic. Some people's nervous systems are set to a different baseline. Not by choice. But by experience. If you grew up in unpredictability, emotional volatility, financial instability, relational uncertainty, your system learned to stay alert. Scanning. Always scanning. For shifts in mood. For changes in tone. For what might be coming next. And that scanning doesn't just turn off when the environment becomes stable. Even in safe conditions, the body continues the pattern. Checking. Monitoring. Preparing. This is why some people feel anxious in calm moments. Why stillness can feel uncomfortable. Why peace feels unfamiliar, almost suspicious. It's not that you're broken. It's that your nervous system is doing what it was trained to do: stay ready. The problem is, when vigilance becomes your baseline, you don't realize you're doing it. It just feels like you. Like you're naturally more sensitive, more reactive, more affected by things than other people. But it's not temperament. It's adaptation. Your body learned to respond quickly because it had to. And now, even when it doesn't have to, it still does. This isn't weakness. It's not a flaw. It's a nervous system that's incredibly good at its job. Too good, maybe. It kept you safe when you needed keeping safe. But now it keeps you activated when you're trying to rest. And that's exhausting. Emotional regulation isn't suppression. It's not controlling what you feel. It's not forcing yourself to calm down. It's teaching your nervous system that it's safe to settle. And that's a different process entirely. Suppression is pushing the feeling away. Distracting yourself. Overriding the signal. But suppressed feelings don't disappear. They become tension. Held in your jaw, your shoulders, your stomach. Present, but unnamed. Regulation is different. Regulation is allowing the body to complete its response. To move through the activation and return to baseline. Sometimes that's through breath. Slow, deep breathing that signals to your system, no threat here. You can stand down. Sometimes it's through movement. Discharge the energy that's been held. Let the body do what it was preparing to do. Sometimes it's through presence. Just being with the feeling without trying to change it. Letting it exist without making it mean something about you. Regulation isn't about achieving a particular state. It's about increasing your range. The ability to feel intensity without staying stuck there. The ability to return to calm after activation. The ability to widen your attention when it's narrowed by fear. And this takes time. Because you're not just changing your mind. You're changing patterns in your nervous system. Patterns that were adaptive once. That served you. That kept you alive or connected or safe. You're not undoing them. You're expanding beyond them. Teaching your body that it has options now. That it doesn't always have to brace. That safety is possible, even if it wasn't before. Emotional maturity isn't the absence of feeling. It's not calmness all the time. It's not unshakable composure. It's the ability to feel intensely without being controlled by it. To recognize, this is fear. This is anger. This is grief. And also recognize, this is information. Not a command. Fear signals vulnerability. Something matters here. Something could be lost. Anger signals boundary. Something has crossed a line. Something needs addressing. Sadness signals loss. Something is ending or has ended. And that loss is significant. These are signals. Messages from your system about what's happening internally or externally. But they're not instructions. They're not dictating what you have to do next. You can feel afraid and still move forward. You can feel angry and still respond thoughtfully. You can feel sad and still hold space for others. The feeling doesn't have to be resolved before you act. It doesn't have to be fixed before you can function. It just has to be acknowledged. Felt. Allowed to be present. And when you stop fighting your feelings, stop trying to make them go away or make sense of them or justify them, something shifts. They move through you more easily. They don't lodge. They don't accumulate. Because you're not holding them at bay. You're not creating internal resistance. You're just feeling. Without making it mean something about who you are or what you're capable of. And that, more than anything, is what creates emotional stability. Not the absence of emotion. The capacity to hold it. If you often feel things you can't explain, maybe it's not that something's wrong with you. Maybe it's that your body is responding to things your mind hasn't consciously registered yet. Maybe your nervous system is doing exactly what it was designed to do. Sensing. Responding. Protecting. And maybe the goal isn't to stop feeling so much. Maybe it's to understand what you're feeling. To trust the intelligence of your body. To recognize that emotions aren't random, they're signals. And when you stop seeing them as problems to solve and start seeing them as information to receive, something changes. You feel without fear of feeling. You notice without needing to fix. You let things move through you instead of getting stuck in you. And that might be all the regulation you need. Not control. Just permission. Permission to feel what's actually there.